What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got a lot going on here right now in our country. We have a major Republican presidential debate coming up here, but the front runner for the Republican Party will probably not be showing up. Yeah. Also, we got a potential government shutdown coming, and the Republican Party pouring on some gasoline on it, and that likely or more likely potentially coming into focus. Also, President Biden may be taking the stand for Hunter Biden in a very unusual case because we don't normally see a president take the stand, but it could happen. Yeah. So let's jump right in. Here we go. So we got the presidential debate on the Republican Party coming into focus here. But what's interesting here is that former President Donald Trump did not sign the papers for the RNC, the Republican National Convention here. So the Republican Party is a little bit worried here. We're also not seeing him potentially going to even go to their debate for their own Republican Party, which again is kind of concerning for the Republican Party. Yeah, take a listen here.
Now to the countdown to the first Republican debate of the 2024 presidential campaign. So far, 8 candidates have qualified to be on the stage in Milwaukee on Wednesday. But the one who may not be there, former President Trump, likely will still be the focus. ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang is live in Washington now with the latest. Good morning, Selena.
Hey, Gio. This morning, sources telling ABC News that former President Donald Trump has already pre-recorded a sit-down interview with Tucker Carlson. This is intended to be counter-programming for the first 2024 GOP debate, which is now just 3 days away. Sources also tell us that some of Trump's surrogates are expected to attend that debate in his stead. Now, so far, 8 candidates have qualified, met those donor and polling thresholds from the RNC. A handful more are scrambling to meet the qualification deadline. Trump's campaign insisting that no final decision has been made. The RNC also has a requirement for these debate participants to sign a pledge to support that eventual nominee. Trump so far has refused to sign it. Now, some candidates also putting pressure on the former president to attend that debate, including Chris Christie, calling Trump a, quote, coward, and insisting that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis should drop out of the race if Ron DeSantis defends the former president on that debate stage. Now, all of this drama unfolding, Gio, as Trump is facing legal deadlines this week. He has until Friday to turn himself into a Georgia jail over alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election results in that state. So while these other candidates are back out there on the campaign trail, hitting the campaign, former President Donald Trump expected to get his mugshot taken. Gio?
All right, Selena, thank you for your reporting. Let's go ahead and bring in ABC's chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl. John, good morning to you. As Selena just reported here, sources are telling ABC News that the former president is not going to appear on stage at that first debate.
The big question here is that will Trump be convicted of one of the trials he's in here before the election, or will he defend them successfully? In some recent polls of only Republicans, you can see here almost half of Republicans in a new poll would not vote for Trump if he's convicted of a felony. The Reuters Ipsos poll found that 45% of Republicans said they would not vote for Trump if he were convicted of a felony, which also means that 55% of Republicans would still vote for Trump if he was convicted of a felony, while 35% said they would still cast their ballot for former President Trump. So, okay, so I guess that there's 20% that said they were unsure how they would vote. So 35% said they would still vote for Trump if he was convicted of a felony, and 20% said they would unsure. Wow. So there that gives you a good idea here of how people feel, at least for now. I'm sure things will change a lot as things go on. As of right now, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is the next most popular Republican in line, and then maybe followed by former Vice President Mike Pence. But we still have over a year until we really get closer to the election. We're also getting closer to a potential government shutdown. The Republican Freedom Caucus pours gasoline on Congress's heated spending fight as government shutdown fears grow. Lawmakers must reach an agreement on funding the government by September 30th. And as of right now, they're at a significant disagreement. The conservative Republican Freedom Caucus is demanding more concessions from Republican leadership in exchange for support on a stopgap spending extension aimed at avoiding a government shutdown and giving lawmakers more time to make a deal on funding for the next fiscal year. Lawmakers will be under pressure when they return from Capitol Hill in two weeks, with just one of 12 promised appropriation bills having passed the House. So you can see they have a lot of work to do in a little amount of time. It's growing increasingly likely to both sides of the aisle that a short-term patch known as a CR continuing resolution, which extends the current spending priorities, is needed to give legislators more time to hammer out a deal. But the Freedom Caucus said on Monday that its members would oppose any clean CR, calling it an extension of Democratic priorities passed under the last Congress in an omnibus spending bill that most of Republicans opposed. Also, it's possible that President Biden could take the stand in defense of his son, Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden's lawyers, his defense lawyers, vowed to put President Biden on the stand to defend Hunter Biden. This could actually happen for him to defend his son on the stand, which typically a president would not do because presidents have immunity and typically do not go on the stand unless it's dire circumstances. Attorney Chris Clark said testimony by President Biden against his own DOJ would create a, quote, constitutional crisis. Yeah, so again, a president would not normally go on the stand unless he's like in an impeachment process, or it's a very, very rare circumstance for a president to go on the stand and it's unless they're really forced to. Let me put it that way. So maybe to defend his son in an impeachment process or a very rare circumstance. Yeah, you can see here Hunter Biden's legal team once vowed to prosecutors that they would have President Biden take the stand to testify as a fact witness for the defense if his son faced criminal charges. Biden's then attorney, Chris Clark, made the claim in a letter to prosecutors in October, shortly after news leaked that the Justice Department had enough evidence against the first son to move forward with an indictment. Chris warned that if the DOJ did bring charges against relating Hunter's alleged purchase of a firearm while addicted to cocaine, which that's where the charge comes in play, because again, you can buy a firearm, but not in relation to drugs in that case, the president would take the stand. Quote, President Biden now unquestionably would be a fact witness for the defense in any criminal trial. Clark wrote this in a 32-page letter obtained by Politico. And of course, Hunter Biden's plea deal, not guilty, the plea deal had fallen apart during the Delaware court appearance. That's already happened now. So Hunter Biden's attorney vowed to prosecutors that they would have President Biden take the stand to testify as a fact witness for the defense if his son faced criminal charges. Clark has now withdrew from Hunter's defense team last week, though it is unclear whether the decision came in relation to the leak of the document to Politico. Very interesting. Now, if President Biden takes the stand, it's very dangerous for a president to take a stand on anything because that opens them to question under penalty of perjury and for just about anything, because once a lawyer starts asking them questions under oath, of course they'll have a lawyer there that can object to anything, right? And you've seen this from former President Donald Trump, where he says, I can't remember, or I take the fifth. But when President Biden would be there to actually defend his son, he presumably wouldn't be doing that because there would be no point in even taking the stand. He would be there to actually answer questions. Okay. So now when they're actually asking you questions that you want to answer, you got to be very careful with what you're going to answer and how you're going to answer it, no matter what the questions are, because these lawyers are going to be thinking about what they're going to ask you days and days in advance, and who knows what they're going to be. And you know how lawyers are, right? They're just going to ask you very tricky questions about who knows what, and they're going to try to trap you in, no matter what it is, whether you're Trump or Biden or whoever. They're always got some kind of sneaky agenda to try to trap you in saying something on the record. No matter who you are, whether you're Trump or Biden or whoever, they have an agenda to try to get you to say something that they want you to say. This is just how the name of the game, right? So it's a sneaky situation that you don't want to be in if you're a president. So I'll keep you up to date here. Let me know your thoughts on this. Yeah, and we'll see. So if you haven't yet, click the subscribe button down below and the bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for liking and share these videos so other people can see this and know what's going on here. Click here to see the major threat that Russia just issued the United States. Or you can click here to see why major stores are closing across the United States, and it's a big deal. Click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.